Import players in the RLCS is nothing new in the scene. The last couple of years had shown a consistent problem with the rule change that needs to be fixed. With the regions being completely open, we are seeing something that we can call a European takeover. Europeans are going as full rosters and competing in these minor regions, essentially taking away the regional identity with it. In order to completely understand the problem, we need to learn the history of import players in the RLCS. While Turbopulse was one of the more known players that became an import after moving from Europe to the United States to play for NRG, he actually wasn't the first player to ever do this. Drippe from the OCE region transferred to Evil Geniuses in 2019, becoming the first RLCS player to move regions, and he saw mediocre success before he would return to his home region later that year. We also have seen the Gen G roster where apparently Jack and Noli moved to the United States to play with Chronic and saw success for a couple years before returning to Europe. These are some of the more known cases of players moving regions before 2024, but I'm sure there are others that I'm not covering. The Rocket League Championship Series likes to advertise itself as a global esport. With their announcement of the 21-22 season, they made the final region expansion and it made the esport truly global like they and everyone wanted. In 2024, however, Rule 3.7.4 was made and it stated that you may participate in one single region throughout the course of the event, meaning that they completely lifted the region restrictions, allowing players to compete in any region they see fit. We got to witness the full effect just a couple months later when the RLCS season would begin. The SSA region faced the biggest import crisis, with teams like Young Money Clan and Team Mobula taking advantage of the situation given. Greybeard tweeted out in January of 2024 that over half the 64 teams that had signed up to that point in the SSA region, they weren't even from the region. While the SSA region managed to hold off the imports for the first major and retain their spot, by the second major of 2024, we would see the SSA region lose their spot to the EU imports of Team Mobula. While the region still went to the World Championship, the second major was just a sign of what was to come in the near future. In 2025, the SSA region will be taken over by European imports, with only 2 of the top 5 teams in the final rankings being from the region. Foot Esports was the front runner the entire season and would take all the SSA majors and World Championship spots, while being a full Spanish roster. The APAC region's top team of Virtus Pro has 2 import players in Sosa and Catalysm, but they do at least play next to Sphinx, who is from the region, so this makes it just a tiny bit better. The second best team in the APAC region, however, is also a full import roster. Funny enough, while I was looking through to see what teams are imports, I ran into the player Tekos. He managed to do something that I didn't know I would ever see. He had played in 3 different regions over the course of the entire 2025 RLCS season. He played the Birmingham major splits in Europe, then played the Raleigh splits in APAC, before playing the last chance qualifiers in MENA. I personally have never heard of a player playing in 3 different regions over the course of a few months, so finding this was pretty crazy to me. Rocket League is a popular esport, but it's not the most popular. Other esports have their own reasons for their rules on imports. League of Legends is one of the most popular esports in the world. Their current rule states on page 12 that all teams must maintain at least 3 players of their starting rosters who are residents of the region that they are playing in. Valorant, which is under the same company as League of Legends, does have a similar rule, but instead with 4 players who are residents. Rainbow Six Siege has a different rule where you just have to be residing in the region to be able to play. This just allows players to import to any region, but they do have to live there instead of playing on their own couch. Lastly, Counter-Strike, which surprisingly doesn't have any restrictions. However, for Rocket League it is a bit different because all these esports I just stated are 5-player rosters while the RLCS has 3 players. The goal should always be the chance for these smaller regions to be able to play on the main stage and make their home countries proud. With that being said, there are a couple changes that can be made to make this situation better. There are a couple ways that this can be fixed, but I am no expert on this situation and would know the best outcome. First, we could have a residency policy. As long as you are currently living in the region, then you would be able to compete. However, this can still cause the same problem that we see today, where a mass amount of players move to other regions to be able to compete. This, in other words, would just take away the region's identity. With this in mind, we could take the approach that allows regional identity and imports. The 2/3 rule. Having 2 of the 3 players on the team be from the region they are competing in allows for teams to maintain their regional identity while also allowing import players to come in and not completely take away a spot from the region. If a player decided to permanently move to the region, we can say that after however long is decided to live there, they will be exempt from the import rule and would count as part of the 2/3. Now, I'm not endorsing hating on any of the players for playing in minor regions they don't even live at. They're just playing what's best for themselves, and I don't blame them for it. It is the rule giving players the ability to do this that is to blame. I do want to hear everyone's opinion on the situation. If you agree or disagree with the rule, comment them down below. I want to know where everyone stands on this. Also, if you enjoyed this, you might enjoy my last video where I go over the situation of Young Money Clan a year later. Please do free to like if you enjoyed it, and also subscribe to the channel for more videos in the future. Thank you for watching.